Welcome to the Empty Nester Life podcast. I'm Mark.
And I'm Jackie.
And today we're going to catch you up.
Yes.
We kind of left a few gaps in our YouTube channel over the last 5 years or so about kind of some of the moves we made, geographically and otherwise.
Right.
So we decided that, and we've got Zoe over here doing what Zoe does.
She's going to ring her doorbell to get outside.
Well, she's going to try and ring her doorbell.
To let you know.
Anyway, so that's what we're going to try to do today is connect the dots. I kind of wanted to do this video for quite a while, and it just wasn't the right time. It didn't seem like. And then Jackie now feels like it's the right time. So we're both in agreement it's the right time to kind of connect the dots.
Which is, yeah. So here's the thing too, we are doing this as an episode of the podcast, and I just want to assure you this is going to be a little bit of a different episode. So if you are watching this podcast or listening to this podcast and you are not familiar with us, then you can definitely listen. It's a great way to get to know us.
Yeah,
or feel free to skip this one. So this is really for the people who've been following along on our journey for the last 5 years. And like you said, we sort of made a sudden stop to some of the content we were doing without ever explaining why. So,
because we're so good at this.
Because we're professional. We get paid the big bucks to do all this, you know.
Yeah.
Which is not I'm being facetious.
But it doesn't matter if this brings 5 of you along with us. I think we have over 1,000 people that always turn into our videos every time we put one out. But if it brings 5 people up to speed, hey, 5 people.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi, Dennis. Hi, Maria.
Hi, guys.
The people we know that are gonna connect.
Definitely maybe watch this.
Yes. So I think what's important is we left off. I'm going to super briefly touch on in 2020. We started our YouTube channel, and we did so in conjunction with a trip we took to Texas. We both were sitting here, we looked at each other, and we said, we got to get out of here. Because again, COVID, it was a thing. And we're like, we have to go get out of town. And
we always had talked about Mexico, though.
We had always that's actually a really important point, is that for me, my dream in life has always been to own a beach house.
On the beach.
That's my dream. He lived on the beach, didn't care. This was my dream.
She loves beach balls. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so, and you will get to know that Mark thinks he's very funny, and sometimes he really is, and sometimes he's not. So it's okay.
I think I'm very funny. Okay.
No, sometimes you really are.
Okay.
It's just they don't all hit.
No, I don't want them to all hit either.
Anyway.
I like bomb. You ever heard of the idea of the bomb comic? That's me.
Ladies, don't be jealous. Just kidding. I love this man more than anything. So
Bomb
we
comic.
just tease each other a lot. Okay,
Mexico.
So meanwhile, Mexico, we had been looking in Puerto Penasco, which is also known as Rocky Point. Mm-hmm. It is a 6-hour drive from where we live in Flagstaff, approximately. And so we had been really checking that out. In fact, I found some old video. I think I'm going to post a before the Empty Nester Life video and showcase a little bit of that.
Who knew we were doing video back then?
Won't that be fun? So anyway, that's where we really wanted to be. But then COVID, the border shut down. You couldn't get back and forth. And so we kind of looked at each other and said, okay, where's the next closest beach town?
And similar climate, we felt like.
Yes.
Felt like.
We could have looked at Southern California, but frankly, I don't think we could have afforded a closet on the beach in Southern California.
Not a closet.
Right. So we decided to look on the Gulf Coast of Texas. And so that's what we did. We went all up and down the Gulf Coast, found Rockport, Texas.
Yeah. Started in South Padre a week there, and then went up to Rockport.
Corpus Christi, Mustang.
Suggestion of the realtor we were using at the time, Amy, I believe her name was. And so we ended up in Rockport. It's pretty cool. This is a little fishing village right next to Fulton, obviously, 35 miles or so north of Corpus Christi. And, of course, we knew none of this at the time. But there was a couple of harbors, we could go to the harbor. I like the Boston thing. Not that I'm from Boston. But they were cool. Little marinas, right? And the little boats, and a lot of oyster boats and fishing boats, and, just the vibe of being on the water in marinas and, little bait shops. And then, of course, the little restaurants around it. Seemed to be a lot of good restaurants.
Yes, and we did. So that is where we really launched our YouTube channel was,
Rockport.
I mean, our very first video is the day that Sophia moved out. So we did know we were going to be doing this channel before we found Rockport. But really, Rockport was the beginning. So you can go back on YouTube and follow along on our journey for sure. So we won't get too much in depth.
No.
But what we did find in Rockport was some really great community. Some really fantastic people that we hold dear in our hearts till this day that we're still in touch with. So that was a really great blessing. But at a certain point, I think, in our first episode on the podcast, I mentioned that we're not retired, but we acted like it in 2020.
Yeah, and it was 1,200 miles away from Flagstaff. So when you're going to drive, that's easily a 2-day drive.
Yeah.
Easily a 2-day drive. I think I drove to San Antonio one time, and I'm quite proud of this. I drove from Flagstaff to San Antonio in one shot. It took me 17 hours, and that was barely stopping for anything, 17 hours.
He's proud of it. I'm so angry about it, but
That is, wow.
I mean, but I was
wild.
like, I didn't know until it was over. Otherwise I would have been like, that's not safe. Pull over, take a nap. All this stuff a wife worries about.
Yeah. And then, from San Antonio, it's like 3 hours down to the coast.
Yeah.
So, it's a long way to drive. And if you've got a business call and you sort of have to be face to face, that's a difficult thing, because what you're going to do is you're going to get on a plane in Corpus Christi. You're going to go back and hopefully lasso that business.
Yes. And so that's what we found the last time that we were there before selling out of Rockport is that, we were there with the intent to be there for 2 whole months. And I think he got there and was there 2 weeks ahead of me because I had business stuff. Then by the time I finally got there, he got a call and had to fly back. And we looked at each other and said, this is ridiculous. And so that's when we started to make the moves that we decided to sell out of Rockport. And
But got to know our neighbors, Danny and Heather, well. And
yeah, we love Danny and Heather and Peggy and Bobby and Dennis and
boondocking with
Dennis.
Not that we know Dennis real well. I think we felt like we know him better now than when we were actually there. But we have met Dennis, and of course Dennis is famous in Rockport and that whole area, Fulton area.
Very good people.
And
very good people.
There's a lot of sweetheart people, and those people that we're not naming too.
Yeah.
But we really enjoyed our time there. No question about it. We, for the most part, had great weather while we were there, but we did go through the Snowmageddon.
We did.
Or the Ice-Mageddon.
Snowmageddon.
Snowvid.
Snowvid. They called it Snowvid 2021. Anyway, you can watch all those videos. We don't need to rehash all of that. The bottom line is we looked at each other and said, it's time. We overshot our commitment in terms of the amount of time we could be there. And so we decided to sell. And when we decided to sell, do you want to take up where we decided to start looking instead?
Yeah, so we caught the market right. I want to say that for sure. We'd actually bought in 2 homes there. We bought one, and then I found another one that was a stilt home on a guy I was trying to buy an ATV from, and he goes, I'll sell you my stilt home. And we bought it. And so we did good on that one. We did good on the first one we bought. And then we decided, what would kind of be cool is this whole Cottonwood, Clarkdale, Jerome area, which is only about 50 miles from where we are, but we're at 7,000 feet. That's at 3,500 feet. Maybe we should look there. And so we started, Jackie has the MLS in that area. I don't. I said, will you start sending me listings?
Yeah. And so that's actually one of the key points too, is because that's an area called the Verde Valley. And like Mark said, we're 7,000 feet elevation in Flagstaff. It's around 3,500 feet elevation in Clarkdale, Cottonwood area, and various amounts therein in between. And we've been building our team, and some of our team members started selling down there. And so then I picked up and started selling down there. And so we actually do business in that area as well. Mm-hmm. So it made sense.
Sedona. Jerome. Yeah.
Right. So it made sense for us to, pack up our vacation homes and look to get a replacement in that area.
And one of the real impetuses of the whole thing is to get out of the really really, really cold, snowy weather here in Flagstaff, where we've seen probably the average temperature difference between here and, let's say, Clarkdale, where we ultimately ended up buying a house. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Is 16 to 18 degrees, but it can be 25 degrees in the winter, especially.
And it can be as little as like 7 to 10 degrees.
It can be, but
in the winter time, it's a huge difference.
Between 50 and 65.
Right. Or between snowing and not snowing. I mean, honestly, even if it's cold and rainy down in Clarkdale, you don't have to shovel the rain, so you're good to go there. And that it really was, so it was a little bit of twofold where we had business there, so we could justify it that way. But also, if we were there for just taking a break from the weather, and like we talked about when we were in Texas, you get a business call, you're hopping on a plane, it's a whole day, it's a lot of expense. Whereas here, it's an hour and 10 minutes door to door. So if you get a business call up in Flagstaff and you're in Clarkdale, boom, you get in the car and you can be there same day, and vice versa. And so really that's what spurred that on. And we loved that area. We had already kind of fallen in love with that area and started poking around a little bit.
Yeah, and our videos start to cover some of this, but it's an area that's really blown up over the last 10 to 15 years. It's a completely different place than it used to be. It used to be literally just locals, no tourism, that sort of thing. And then it ends up being at 3,000 feet elevation, which is perfect if you want to grow what do you call it? Vines.
Yeah, so it's Arizona's wine country.
Yeah.
And
that and Wilcox.
And southern Arizona, Wilcox, Elgin, and all of that. But we really have been loving exploring everything that's over there. So you'll see a lot of videos from us, top 8 things to do in Clarkdale and Cottonwood and Sedona and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so we got a good price on a house down there on a little arroyo, and we got a view of Jerome from our backyard, which is kind of cool.
And Sedona.
And Sedona, the Red Rocks of Sedona. So it ended up being the right place. We're real estate people, so we're going to buy the right place. We usually don't mess that part up. And I'm not trying to be too, ostentatious about it, but we understand it.
Right. Well,
so we're not going to buy the wrong house, and we bought the right house.
And I do want to say, if you're listening to this and you're not too familiar with us, Mark hit on a key point. We're not people who, woohoo, we're running around trying to collect houses and just live the life of Riley. When we buy these pieces of real estate, a lot of this is our investment, our retirement. This is how we protect our money. In real estate, you are 100% self-employed. You're a 1099 independent contractor. Mm-hmm. And so you don't have, an employer.
401k.
Yeah, you don't have an employer matching your 401k. You don't have any of this stuff. So if you're going to sell real estate, you have to look to your future for the day when you want to retire from selling real estate. And so that's part of what these purchases have been, both our Rockport. Yeah. Before we went to Rockport.
They were vacation rentals. The Rockport houses
were vacation rentals. And we actually bought the house in Clarkdale with the intent for it to be a vacation rental. And then we said, we're here enough. And because it is only an hour, just over an hour, we'll be like, hey, what do you got going on? Nothing. Okay, cool. Let's go down or let's go up or whatever. So we decided, and again, it justifies because we do business down there.
I mean, I'd love to see some income from it, but I think we're too entrenched in there now with their stuff splattered everywhere. That I don't think that's going to work. Especially her stuff. That's my stuff that's splattered everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your musician stuff, my work stuff. So it is what it is. Yeah. But I just wanted to make that point, is that when we talk about real estate, the houses that we buy and sell, it is in large part, yes, for our enjoyment, but also our investment in our future, our financial future. So that's how we do it. And we understand a lot of people do it different ways, but we are in real estate. We're entrenched in real estate. And like Mark said, we get real estate. So that's why we tend to put our retirement.
Was I a little cocky when I said we buy the right houses? Maybe I was a little cocky there. But, if you've been in real estate over 30 years, Jackie's been in over 20 years. I don't know. I think you can say,
should know.
Should know.
We should know.
Okay.
Like
All
if
right.
we've been
I don't want to come off as cocky.
No, but if we've been in real estate as long as we have been, we should know how to spot, I mean, we're not saying we get it right all the time because there's a lot of things that, especially in real estate, that are, subjective and moving parts and things out of your control that, whatever. But for the most part, when we see a good deal, we know it. So,
yeah.
Okay, so that kind of gets you up to speed as to where we are today and why we're not doing any more Rockport videos, because we haven't been to Rockport since we sold.
Couple years.
Yeah, so it's been.
We plan on going back, though.
We do.
We do plan on going back eventually.
Oh, I want to say too, we mentioned a lot of the really great people. One of the great communities we were able to plug into was Hope Church. So if you're in the Rockport or, Port Aransas area and you're looking for a good church, we highly recommend Hope Church.
Yeah, because they have home groups and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And we did. We got to plug in. We met some really amazing people that
We'd go over to Bobby and Peggy's house for home group and she'd make her pies.
Oh.
I mean,
company spaghetti.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Okay, enough of that.
Amazing.
But yeah, it's pretty good stuff. So that's where we're at. And I think anything else that we wanted to say, and that's all I got to say about
I'm
that.
happy we did the little catch-up video. Maybe it fills in some of the gaps, and that's really what I wanted to do, and that's what Jackie, we talked about doing. Let's fill in some gaps. And so now we've done it. Now I can sleep at night. Mm-hmm. Because it felt like, what? Where are you guys at now? What's going on? What happened to that? Why come there's no more videos coming from here?
Yeah.
But let me tell you, Texans are awesome. We really dug San Antonio. Corpus Christi can be a mixed bag, but it was Corpus, and it was a big city, relatively, especially for that area. So it was really nice having it there.
It was nice to have it there, but man, I did love the airport. And what's great is that from Flagstaff, you could fly to Corpus Christi because we have a very small airport in Flagstaff that literally goes to Dallas or to LA or to Denver. That's it. Those are the three cities that you can fly to from Flagstaff. So it was really kind of cool because we could fly to Corpus Christi through Dallas. And so, but it was still a whole day flight, but that was at least a little convenient. But yeah, I think Corpus Christi in and of itself was interesting. And we watched some of these videos that our friend Dennis does, and we're like, man, they still haven't finished the construction in Corpus Christi.
I think they did. I think the bridge might be open, but I'm not sure.
We don't know. We're pretty sure that Corpus Christi has a plan to always be under construction. We're pretty sure.
Man, those roads, those freeways going through there were something. Some of those turns, I was like, wow.
Yeah, they drew them up on a napkin.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, that was.
It was an experience. It probably still is an experience, but yeah,
I'm sure it is.
But even San Antonio, sometimes I'd feel like, wow, how am I going to get from here, from this on ramp over to there in a quarter of a mile?
Yeah. San Antonio, we really liked it there, and we liked wine country, the hill country, Fredericksburg, Kerrville. We really enjoyed our time that we spent in those areas as well. So, no regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets.
I've never heard you use that term before.
You have to.
No regrets?
Not on a podcast. That's why you're paying attention.
Well, that's only our second podcast.
It's from No Regrets, but he put a tattoo that says No Regrets, but he spelled it regrets.
Who's this?
It was in a movie.
Oh, it was in a movie.
And I'm totally blanking on what movie at the moment. So
I put her on the spot, and she did not deliver.
No. Wah, wah.
Anyway, we hope this caught you up to speed a little bit. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is just one of many podcasts. I think we're really enjoying this format to be able to just, relate a little bit more and get into some nitty-gritty details of things that come up for empty nesters.
Yeah, and so with that being said, our next podcast episode is going to be our first sort of typical, or what we think is going to be typical. Yeah. Obviously, we don't really know.
It's always going to morph,
right? It's going to, yeah. But we've got our little format and all of that good stuff. Like I said, we used to do a radio show, so we're going to try and stick to that. But our next one is going to be formatted on that, and I think it's going to be about...
health journey.
Yes.
My weird little health journey I've had over pretty much the last year. The
Yes.
last 12 months.
And we really want
Actually.
you, it has been actually.
12 months.
So we really,
Bizarre.
and we really want you to tune into that, because one of the reasons that we feel pretty passionate about sharing his specific journey is because some of the stuff that we learned along the way has proven to be eye-opening, potentially life-saving stuff that we feel like we can share with other people in our, we would say, late 40s and above.
Yeah. I think it'll be eye-opening. It was certainly, I was flabbergasted. I never thought I would be that guy. That was the biggest thing. So with that, let's sign off.
Yep. So thanks for joining us on the Empty Nester Life Connecting the Dots podcast, and join us next week when we talk about a health journey.
We'll see you next time.